Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. And I'm your host, Ronald, Bethea, and you know if you join us on a regular basis. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. And I'm your host, Ronald, Bethea, and you know if you join us on a regular basis. The slogan for this show is "There's Power in Numbers," and the Positive Change Purchasing Cooperative, LLC, captures that power for your financial benefit. The Positive Change Purchasing Cooperative, LLC, serves as an economic blueprint for renewable energy companies, both large and small, along with increasing market share for African and African-American renewable energy companies to address the effects of high energy costs in our historically Black colleges and universities, to utilize Black-owned farmlands and HBCU campuses to develop capacity and initiatives for renewable energy projects to bring down the underemployment of young African and African-American youth locally, nationally, and throughout the diaspora. Also educate the African and African-American community about the economic impacts of climate change and the need for environmental education through Black Talk Radio programs such as Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a scheduled guest today, but we have a very, very interesting program. And you know, if you join us on a regular basis, The slogan for this show, if there's power in numbers, then the Positive Change Purchasing Cooperative captures that power for your financial benefit. And you also know if you join us on a regular basis, that call-in number is 646-668-2948. Please remember to press 1 on our phone pad after dialing the call-in number, because you'll be in our green room, and we want to bring you right on into our green room so we can sort of have this discussion this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, today's date is November the 27th, 2024. And as many of you are preparing for what I would call Harvest Day, known by the Native Americans, which I have quite a bit of that bloodline in my DNA because I hail from South Carolina, and my ancestry links to the Cherokee Nation, even though I am of African descent.
I have quite a bit of that bloodline in my DNA because I hail from South Carolina, and my ancestry links to the Cherokee Nation, even though I am of African descent.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right on into our topic of discussion this morning, because I've gone through this experience here in my home state of Maryland. And the question becomes, why is the Maryland income eligibility limits for the Energy Bill Assistance Program so low?
My home state of Maryland. If the question becomes, why is the Maryland income eligibility limits for the Energy Bill Assistance Program so low?
Now, as we delve into this, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little background of the experience that me and my family, we've gone through. My beautiful wife, Gwendolyn Bethea, she has had some serious health issues for about 2 years now. And we all run into these snags as we older. We are baby boomers, and you saw something called fixed income.
And we all run into these snags as we older. We are baby boomers, and you saw something called fixed income.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, in on June 27th of 2024, I personally went online and we applied for the assistance program. Without doing my preliminary research, which was on me, I didn't know what the eligibility income requirements were. And being that as many of us as African American men, we have a tendency of we just get the money and give it to the wife and say, okay, go ahead, take care of that bill. Okay. With that being said, the electricity bill was in her name. So with that, looking at that on the application, it asks for whose name is on the electricity bill. So being that there's only one person's name on the bill, she applied and used her income eligibility. Now, from her Social Security, she was $27 over the eligibility income cap in Maryland, which is $2,510. So in looking at that, I began to say, okay, well, if that's the case, after I spoke with the caseworker on our situation, I asked this gentleman, what is the eligibility requirement for two people, since we have two people living here, residing in my residence? Now, being that my wife had went to Howard University and she retired from Howard University, her income and her pension is her business. So I was not aware that the caseworker who was handling our application asked her for her pension information. So with that being said, I was unaware of that. So we get a rejection letter stating that she was over income. Now we applied in June 27, 2024. This information stayed in their database at the offices located on Bright Seat Road here in Prince George's County until September. We get a call from PEPCO, who is our utility company, letting us know, hey, you have a disconnection notice and we're going to disconnect your electricity on September the 18th. So I said, wait a minute, let me go into the office and see why we haven't gotten a response from the Energy Assistance Program for Prince George's County. But I did, in fact, download a hard copy of her original application when we applied back in June. So when I go into the office, the procedure is you go to a computer, you log in, and then you get a number, and they text you while you're sitting there on your phone. You go up and you speak to the representative at the window. So I went in and I explained to the lady that my wife was unable to come out, and I had her, of course, proper information, driver's license and everything, the utility bill, and I said, well, we applied back in June, but we haven't gotten any response. So the lady told me she looked at the hard copy of the application, white out the date, and put today's date, which is September the 16th, and we'll move forward. So she called and told me that they had put a hold on our electricity bill until November the 10th. We are in November now. Okay. With that being said, after we received our letter from the caseworker saying she was over income, I called my state senator's offices, Augustine, and he indicated that this is what the income eligibility requirements are. So when I did the research, I saw for two people, it was, in fact, $3,406. So when I added my Social Security with her Social Security, unaware that she had submitted her pension information, we came to $3,017. So we're legally up under the cap. So with that being said, I appealed their original denial decision based on the information I had. So I began to do some research, and this is what I found out in doing my research. Maryland Department of Housing Community Development Assistance Program is called the MEAT program. Is a federally funded program program that operates year-round and assists eligible Maryland households free of charge. The program is aimed at making homeowners more comfortable by repairing and replacing heating, cooling, and water heating systems. So if you look at the income eligibility requirements for this, it starts at a family of one at $42,507. For a family of two, it comes to $55,696. Family of three, $68,076, and it goes all the way down to 10, 8 people, and it talks about what the annual household income is, and it breaks this down. Okay, but this particular program does not provide bill pay assistance. So when you scroll down and look at the accepted as income eligibility requirements for the bill payment assistance program in Prince George's County, it starts at a household of one
for the bill payment assistance program in Prince George's County,
$2,510. With two, $3,406, as I've indicated. With three, $4,330. For $4,200.
As I've indicated.
A family of five, $6,096. Now, the problem with this is when you begin to look at the overall cap,
now the problem,
and you multiply this by 12 months, it gives you one figure. And it says, under the MEAT program,
and you multiply
for a family of two, it comes to about $64,000.
And it says,
when you compare that to the monthly,
family of two,
and it breaks down, it's much lower.
$64,000.
So when you multiply our annual with my wife's pension and my Social Security, we came to $54,000. We were $10,000 under the cap, but we were still over the cap based on how they calculate the eligibility requirement for the program. They only look at the past 30 days.
Under the cap, but we were still over the cap based on how they calculate the eligibility requirement for the program. They only look at the past 30 days.
So with that being said, we were over the cap substantially because our combined income was $4,500 a month. And I had some serious problems with that when I began to compare that with what is the eligibility requirement in the district programs, in the guidelines, as we look at the eligibility requirements right next door in the District of Columbia.
Program in the guidelines as we look at the eligibility requirements right next door in the District of Columbia.
Now it says for LEAP program beginning October the 1st, 2024, DOE will accept energy assistance applications for fiscal year 2025, and these are the eligibility income requirements.
When you're going to DOE will accept energy assistance applications.
Thresholds of eligibility. One person.
And these are the eligibility income
$57,571.
Thresholds of eligibility.
Family of two. $75,286. Family of three, $93,000.
Family of two.
And it goes all the way down to, break it down,
$286.
and it goes up to
Family of three,
$152,787. Comparing that to the Maryland eligibility requirement, and if you multiply that number of 8 for income eligibility cap, if you multiply $8,786, it's almost 50% lower than the eligible requirement in the District of Columbia. The problem is the cost of living next door in Prince George's County is not that much different than it is in the District of Columbia, our nation's capital. When I began to talk to various consultants and people with, including my Senator Augustine, who I voted for, we realized that the eligibility requirements need to be raised, and the lady who physically works for the Department of Human Resources are not even realistic. When we compare and look at the large number of Prince George's County residents who are employed by the district or federal government,
county residents who are employed by the district or federal government.
And when you compare to the hourly rate, the requirement in the district is $15 an hour. Now, Maryland has raised their hourly rate.
When you compare to the hourly,
and I'm not going to speak out of line, but I don't know if it's $15 an hour minimum wage. But that's only $30,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. These eligibility requirements are unrealistic when you have someone who has worked in the federal government for 20 or 30 years and retirement, because their Social Security, and if they have any form of a pension, it's going to throw them over the income cap, and we are the ones who need the help because we're being squeezed by the economic pressures of living in the DMV market area, Washington, D.C., which we realize is one of the most expensive cities in the United States of America to live in. So I wanted to open my show today about this issue because I've reached out to members of the, I've called my congressional representative's office, Mr. Glenn Ivey, and I haven't gotten a response back from them. Well, you know, you have to put in a request to have him become a guest on your show. Well, we intend to do just that, because we are not going to sit back and not have this issue addressed while the Maryland State Legislature is in session, and they're only in session about 90 days, and these are the type of issues that should be addressed, but they are pushed to the side. We're not talking about something that is a luxury, ladies and gentlemen. Electricity is something that no one who has a household can live without. So with that being said, that call-in number is 646-668-2948.
No one who has a household can live without.
So with that being
said, that call-in number is 646-668-2948.
Now, please remember to press 1 on your phone pad after dialing the call-in number, because you'll be in our green room, and we want to bring you right on into our living room so that we can have this discussion. Because I know I'm not the only one out there that's had this issue. On Monday of this week, I had the privilege of being a guest on a Carl Nelson show, which is a nationally syndicated show that comes over the Radio 1 network. Carl is a world-renowned radio host, and Brother Crazy does an excellent job. But we did want to have this discussion, and he wanted to talk about Project 25 and energy, because over the last 5 years, I have served as the president of the National Association of Blacks in Solar, and I am now serving in the capacity as the chairman of the board of directors for the National Association of Blacks in Solar. We have elected a young, dynamic leader in Mr. Nathaniel Daly, who's 37 years of age, and as a baby boomer, as serving as president of this organization since 2018, since we started this organization to look at how we can get and raise the issue, where's the Green Economic Development Plan in the implementation of the Biden Build Back Better and the Inflation Reduction Act. Unfortunately, that question has never been answered. At this point, $1.7 trillion have gone out of 7 federal agencies. African and African-American entities, businesses, and nonprofits and churches have received less than 2%. Even though we voted as African-American men 80% for the Democratic ticket. Black women voted at a rate of 92%. Even though our number of people who actually voted dropped. And these are some of the reasons why people don't go to the polls. Because when they are squeezed and they need assistance and they go to their for help, for like programs such as the energy assistance program, and they're told that they are over income, and you're looking at people who are living on fixed incomes, and you have all of the same responsibilities as someone still working in today's marketplace. And one thing that we have to take in consideration, ladies and gentlemen, baby boomers, did not earn the type of money that our children are earning today, and we can see how they're being squeezed when you look at cities like New York and Washington, D.C., where a one-bedroom apartment in New York City can cost you $5,000 a month in New York and $3,400 in Washington, D.C., which is insane for both marketplaces.
And $3,400 in Washington, D.C.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember that call-in number is 646-668-2948. Once again, that call-in number is 646-668-2948. 2948. So we're going to switch gears here on the program here, Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to, as we say, take a slight pause for the cause here on Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America.
As we say, pause.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the airways of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. And you know I'm your host, Ronald, Bethea, and you know if you join us on a regular basis, slogan
welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the airways of Solar Now and the Future.
The slogan for this show is "There's power in numbers." then the Positive Change Purchasing Cooperative LLC captures that power for your financial benefit. The Positive Change Purchasing Cooperative serves as once again as an economic blueprint for renewable energy companies, both large and small, along with increasing market share for African and African American renewable energy companies to address the effects of high energy costs at our historically black colleges and universities, to utilize black-owned farmlands and HBCU campuses to develop capacity and initiatives for renewable energy projects to bring down the underemployment of African and African American young men and women locally, nationally, and throughout the diaspora. Also to educate the African American community about the economic impacts of climate change and the need for environmental education through Black Talk Radio programs such as Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. Also, the show is brought to you every week, ladies and gentlemen, by the National Association of Blacks in Solar. Also by the Black Sports Legends BSLF HBCU Solar Radio Talk Show Initiative. And you can get more information on that initiative by logging on to our website at also by the Black Sports Legends PositiveChangePC.com. Please go to our GoFundMe link, ladies and gentlemen, and you will find out truly that we're not the greedy, but we're definitely the needy. We need your support and help to try to take this program to the next level. We are now trying to work out all of the live stream and issues that we're having in actually providing this broadcast over YouTube on a weekly basis. We're not able to hire engineers. We're not able to do a lot of things that a lot of people are able to do, which puts us at a great disadvantage for optimization of our website and working out of some of the issues around keywords and things to be able to get more visitors to our website in order to generate the type of income we need to support the issues and what we need to do with website here on this platform, Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. So we have struggled with this for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen, and we are trying to make sure that we're able to make these things happen. Now, we're getting ready to switch gears here on the platform of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact. And if you're wondering why your electricity bill is so damn high, you're going to want to make sure you listen very, very carefully. And we are going to play for you to what is going on as it relates to the issue of First Energy, and this is a outstanding a documentary, short documentary that was done by a gentleman, and we are going to move forward with playing that video for you so you'll be able to listen to this documentary in its full length. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to crank this up. Why are your electric bills so damn high? Why are your electric
electric bills? Everybody's
So
favorite
damn
thing.
high.
Did I lock myself out of my own house? No, I didn't. Okay, what is this? Oh, look. It's another rate hike. Have you been getting these? The companies that we depend on to heat and power our homes have been trying to raise our bills more than ever before. But there's one company here in West Virginia that might be the worst example. First Energy, to those that know it, has become the poster child for scandal. The largest bribery scheme the state has ever
Here
seen.
today to announce the filing of criminal charges. This is a humbling moment for our company.
So recently, when they put a request for it for a major rate hike, it set off a firestorm. I did a little research into the situation, and it wasn't long before I was reading about corruption and massive taxpayer bailouts. So I kept digging. The investigation brought me deep into our public utility system, something that most of us never really have to think much about. It took me to protests, public hearings, the homes of people struggling to pay sky-high rates, and it completely changed how I think about a basic question. Why are energy bills so damn high?
Mary, if you have any thoughts about it.
What's your thoughts, Mary?
My thoughts, it's outrageous. $70, $80 difference.
That's a lot in just 1 month.
It's really scary to think of what it'll be next month.
It will be. My wife and I are on a fixed income. We live on Social Security primarily. We know how to budget and we manage things and we can survive on that. But now it's going to push us to the edge.
Like most of the country, Al Arnett only has one electricity provider to choose from. It's called First Energy, and it's one of the largest investor-owned utilities in the U.S. When what he's already paying, First Energy is now requesting a huge rate increase of $207 million. For the average customer, that would mean paying over $200 more every year.
This is just ridiculous, and somebody needs to bring a stop to all this. And I don't think they even care because all they have to do is request a rate increase, pass all their expenses on to someone else.
Right, because what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Al did what he could. He wrote a letter to the West Virginia Public Service Commission, agency that is supposed to regulate the utility.
In view of all that I have stated, and the recent well-known fraudulent actions of Montauk's parent company, First Energy Corporation.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I was talking about the situation that happened in Ohio.
Speaker Householder, what do you have to say to Are the allegations against you true?
In 2020, a federal investigation revealed that First Energy was at the center of one of the biggest political scandals in Ohio's history.
Make no mistake, these allegations are bribery, pure and simple.
The First Energy spent millions lobbying for a bill that gave it $1.3 billion to bail out failing power plants. The bill also rolled back Ohio's energy efficiency and renewable energy standards.
There were these murky groups with names like Generation Now spending a lot of money on ads and these political campaigns.
The Chinese government is quietly invading our American electric grid. You may be approached on the street or at your door to sign a petition to defund U.S. jobs and energy.
But it wasn't until a while later I was actually looking through some bankruptcy filings from the First Energy Solutions bankruptcy case and realized that they had included some payments to this Generation Now group. Suddenly there was a press conference.
We're here today to announce the arrest of Larry Householder, the Speaker of the House.
First Energy eventually admitted to paying $60 million in bribes, as well as paying off Ohio's top utilities regulator.
This is a humbling moment for our company. First Energy will pay a penalty of $230 million.
$230 million to settle federal charges against the company in connection to a sweeping bribery scheme.
First Energy's scandal in Ohio raised an obvious question. Had its customers been paying for the bribery? That question became even more critical last year when First Energy started asking for big rate increases. $207 million in West Virginia, $185 million in New Jersey, and $40 million in Maryland. In response, several states decided to audit First Energy's finances.
pretty much every state First Energy does business in, investigations or audits or the company's own admissions have shown money that they paid to lobbyists who worked on these ratepayer bailout campaigns was charged to ratepayers and needs to be refunded.
But the scandal also highlighted the key role played by one agency in particular. It's the Public Service Commission. In every state, there's a commission that's supposed to make sure the prices we pay for utilities are fair.
We are here this evening to listen to public comment in case number 23-0460.
Today, that commission in West Virginia is considering First Energy's requested rate hike. So we came to see how people are feeling about it.
So many of the folks I work with daily can no longer afford to pay their electric bills because their electric bills are now higher than their mortgages.
First Energy has proven recently to be a corrupt company, and the Public Service Commission agrees to their lobbying efforts. The whole thing will really stink.
Many people here have responded to sky-high rates by installing solar panels, reducing what they have to pay to First Energy.
I would just like to echo what everyone else has said, that I believe that these changes are unfair to anyone looking to go solar in the state in the future.
In its rate request, First Energy proposed that solar panel owners get paid less for the power they generate.
It's really a double whammy because rates are increasing, but the relief is being threatened.
So why is First Energy doing this? The truth is, they have a vested interest in generating power a different way. You may have heard of it. West Virginia is the energy state. Coal, right? The weird thing is that over the last 15 years, the cost of electricity in West Virginia has gone up by 90%, more than almost any other state. Over the same period, coal has stopped being a cost-effective way of producing electricity. That's because it became cheaper to generate power from gas, wind, or solar. To save money, most utilities have made the switch, but First Energy doubled down. Today, the company still uses coal to generate nearly all of its electricity in West Virginia.
Renewables at this point are cheaper, cleaner, and the utilities, instead of looking forward and determining how they're going to transition, are making upgrades to power plants that by all accounts should be shuttered.
The job of utility regulators is to keep rates low, but instead of encouraging First Energy to transition to more affordable forms of energy, the West Virginia Commission has repeatedly done the opposite.
Was supposed to be a fairly routine meeting, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and some previous legislation. But then came something very controversial.
While First Energy was pursuing this massive bribery for bailout scheme in Ohio, it was also pursuing any way possible to keep the Pleasance coal plant up and running in West Virginia.
By 2017, one of First Energy's biggest coal plants was no longer profitable to operate. So First Energy got creative. They found a way to shift the plant to another part of the business where ratepayers would have to bear the costs.
They would have been forcing ratepayers to bail out the shareholders, just pretty much the ultimate no-no. You can't take money from low-income ratepayers in West Virginia and send it to investors on Wall Street.
Everyone knew this maneuver would increase costs for the consumers, but the Public Service Commission still supported the plan. The scheme was so outrageous that it was immediately rejected by federal regulators. But that didn't stop First Energy and its allies, like West Virginia Governor Jim Justice.
Governor, we thank you so much for all you've done and all you continue to do.
They went to West Virginia's Governor Jim Justice and said, hey, you know what would really help? A big tax break for this power plant.
The big surprise was a last-minute bill submitted by Governor Justice that would give the controversial Pleasance Power Station $12 million tax break.
Nobody's going to go to bat for you more than I. Nobody believes in coal more than I. We'll sign these right now.
We're just so appreciative of Governor Justice taking a lead role in advancing legislation to save this plant.
The governor had found another way to make West Virginians foot the bill for the failing coal plant. Oh, and Governor Justice, once a billionaire owner of a coal mining business himself, appointed all three members of today's state utility commission. You know, the people now deciding whether First Energy gets its big rate hike.
I'm Charlotte Lane, chairman of the Public Service Commission of West Virginia.
Its chair, Charlotte Lane, is a former First Energy lobbyist. Another commissioner, Bill Rainey, ran the West Virginia Coal Association for nearly 30 years.
The great thing about coal that people typically do not understand is that it's the basis of their electricity.
At the hearing, we were lucky enough to have a quick conversation with Todd Myers, a spokesman for First Energy. So we've been going around the state and talking to a lot of people who are your customers. And one of the main questions that has been on their mind over the last 15 years, West Virginians have seen retail prices on energy increase by 90% since 2005. Why are they experiencing that?
I can say that over time, we've made a lot of investments in West Virginia. You're investing in the infrastructure. You're investing in wire. You're investing in different storm processes, and there's a lot of different things as prices go up. And also energy, not only in West Virginia, but in many places, the energy continues to, and the fuels continue to get more expensive.
How can customers of Mon Power, Potomac Edison, be sure that they are not paying for the political lobbying of the parent company, First Energy, with a lot of these rate increases? That's a concern on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I think there's been an audit that the commission has looked at. I don't know what the findings are there, but that's another question for him.
Talking to people about utility commissions has made me the most boring guy at the bar for the last month. But lack of public interest is exactly what's allowed these monopoly utilities to capture regulators and raise rates all over the country.
I'm a low guy, just like all of my neighbors and friends who are subjected to the same problems with this.
Right.
What do?
The companies that provide us with electricity, heat, water, we give them monopolies because they are supposed to serve us to provide reliable energy at an affordable rate. But somewhere along the line, that agreement broke down.
These people have so much power to just say, you want more money, we're going to raise the rate, and then it just happens.
Over the last month, I've seen a growing movement to restore that agreement.
It's West Virginians who are going to own the power plants, not Wall Street.
And a movement is probably what it'll take to hold companies like First Energy accountable.
If we have no one that's within power that's going to stop this kind of thing, we're done.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Why Your Electric Bills Are So Damn High. Now, let's bring this back to our platform, Solar Now in the Future, with its economic impact on Black America. As we've looked around and looked at a number of articles to address what is going on with renewable energy in the District of Columbia, in the state of Maryland. We've discussed also the energy eligibility requirements for the lower and moderate income programs in the district, and how I would call us low income or moderate income households such as mine are being squeezed. And so we're over income to qualify for any assistance, even though we're under the annual cap because of what we have coming in on a monthly basis. If that sounds like it makes no sense, it makes no sense to me either, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I've decided to make this a part of one of the shows that we're bringing to you today. We're going to follow up and see if we can get some interviews, elected officials, around these issues, because it makes no sense to me that we can't get some basic help or assistance while everything else is going on around whether or not we're going to be able to stay in our homes if we can't pay any heating bills. Now, here in the state of Maryland, as I've indicated, we've looked at a number of issues surrounding the administration, change of administration. And as I refer to this gentleman as COVID-45, most of you know him as Donald Trump, talks about advocates expect Maryland to drive climate action when Trump comes to Washington. Now, when we begin to look at the issues going on in the Maryland State Legislature around what they're doing to actually make things more accessible, only about 5% of Maryland's energy is generated in the state of Maryland. Maryland gets 95% of its energy from outside of it. It creates a problem when we begin to look at what is actually going on in looking at what we're looking at. With Republicans on track to win both the House and the Senate, we're looking at a situation where I was basically sharing with you from the article under our News and Events tab what is going on with
the House and the Senate.
We're
looking at a situation where I was basically sharing
where the state of Maryland is going to be losing about $100 million in weatherization grant opportunities because they have not applied for those opportunities. And we're looking at the Greenhouse Gas Initiative, the Solar Fall Program, and you have about, I've reached out to the Maryland Clean Energy Center to talk about this issue on this platform, and we've gotten responses back to talk about
the Solar Fall Program,
how we would be able to, in fact, get the information out to the Maryland public, how they plan to roll this information out. And they indicated they had not, in fact, signed a contract yet, but this announcement was made way back on April the 22nd of 2024. So it baffles me that being that the agency that is receiving the $62,500,000 for the state of Maryland cannot, in fact, come on this platform and talk to Maryland residents about how this information is going to be rolled out. It's supposed to benefit about 10,000 Maryland residents, which is not a lot of people. So when we begin to look at what would be the income eligibility requirements, if they're going to be as low as they are, then many of those individuals who are homeowners, we still won't be able to qualify because of the low eligibility income caps, which have not been addressed in the state.
What would be the income eligibility requirements if they're going to be as low as they are? Then many of those individuals who are homeowners, we still won't be able to qualify because of the low eligibility income caps, which have not been addressed in the state.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of another exciting edition of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. And we are going to, in fact, upload this video to our YouTube gallery, and you'll be able to view this online as well as listen to it over our website at positivechangepc.com. So we are still here on the platform of Blog Talk Radio, and as of December 31st, everything will be on the platform of YouTube. And with that being said, we've come to another end of another exciting edition of Solar Now and the Future with its economic impact on Black America. And with that being said, as we close every week, we want to say to our listening audience, go in peace. As we close another exciting edition of Solar Now, and with economic impact on Black America.